Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best USB flash drives.
Starting at number 5.
Buffalo SSD Put. There are loads of insanely cheap no-name 2TB flash drives available on Amazon and sites like AliExpress if you like throwing your money at scammy garbage tech, but the 2TB Buffalo SSD Put is real and, at $160 when we wrote this, a surprisingly good deal. It's cheaper than most larger 2TB external SSDs, although some of those will definitely be faster, and significantly smaller, although still bulky for a flash drive. Overall, this drive did slightly better on our benchmarks than its 1TB sibling, meaning it doesn't beat or often quite match the Kingston DataTraveler Max. But for the price and especially considering it's one of a very few 2TB drives available from a known brand, this is a very impressive performer. On the minus side, the drive has the same creaky, cheap-feeling plastic shell as the 1TB model, and it's nearly an inch wide, making it a tight fit on some laptops where the ports are placed close together. But you get a roomy 2TB of pocket-friendly storage at fast speeds, for a flash drive, and a bundled USB-C adapter should your device not have a USB-A port handy. If Buffalo would just release this drive in solid-feeling metal housing, or even a solid-feeling plastic one, this would arguably be the perfect flash drive for those who need lots of storage in their pocket.
Coming at number 4.
Samsung Fit Plus. If you're after a drive that's small enough to leave plugged into your laptop most of the time, or you just want something you can clip to your keychain and forget about until you need it, Samsung's Fit Plus stands out. The 128GB model we tested sells for $18, and when we wrote this the top capacity 256GB model was selling for just $25 direct from Samsung. At less than an inch long including its USB-A connector, it will stick out of your port less than an inch when plugged in. And it has a hole for a lanyard. It feels solid. In fact, this sub-$20 drive feels better than the most expensive drives on our list. And Samsung says it's rated to survive in up to 1 meter of water for 72 hours. In case it doesn't, the company covers the drive with a generous 5-year warranty. That being said, our testing shows this tiny drive is in a much lower performance class than the bigger, pricier, roomier models. On our real-world Diskbench 10GB test, the Samsung Fit Plus read our files at a decent 319.7 MB per second, but could only write at 58.4 MB per second. That's just over half the read speed and less than 15% of the write speed of Kingston's 1TB DataTraveler Max. That said, the Samsung drive's performance was still significantly better than most of the drives we tested with capacities less than 1TB. SanDisk's Extreme Pro 128GB wrote our test files about twice as fast, but it costs nearly 2.5 times as much and is more than 6 times longer.
At number 3.
Transcend ESD310C Portable. If you feel the need for flash drive speed, Transcend's forgettably named ESD31C portable SSD is the fastest drive in a true flash drive form factor, although Kingston's DataTraveler Max wasn't far behind on most of our tests, and was often a bit speedier when it comes to writes. Still, with the fastest scores we've seen yet for one of these drives in PCMark, Diskbench, and Crystal Diskmar's sequential tests, see charts below, the Transcend drive isn't hard to recommend. Aside from its top-notch performance, it also sports both a USB-C and a USB-A port, one on each side, and a metal shell that feels a lot nicer than much of its plastic-clad competition. And selling for about $88 when we wrote this, in the 1TB variant we tested, it's also cheaper than the Kingston drive, which often sells for closer to $100. And the Transcend drive is available in a 2TB model, while Kingston's drive tops out at 1TB. That doesn't mean that Transcend's ESD31C portable SSD doesn't have its drawbacks. For starters, it was the warmest drive we tested under sustained use. After just a few minutes of heavy writes, it hit 93.7 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not exactly going to burn you, but if using it as an external drive to run programs from, it may get even hotter. This is a downside, in part, to having a slim, 0.31-inch, frame rather than the bulkier plastic used by competing drives.
Number 2 of my list.
Kingston DataTraveler Max. Just like its roomier 1TB variant, the 256GB Kingston DataTraveler Max is a speed demon in the flash drive world, even if it falls a bit short of the newer Transcend ESD31C portable SSD. See our next pick, below. But at $30 to $35, Kingston's 256GB drive is a great balance of speed, affordability, and capacity for those who don't want to spend much more on a roomier fast alternative. Available with either a USB-C or USB-A connector, though not both, like Transcend's drive, the 256GB DataTraveler Max performed nearly as well as its more spacious 1TB sibling in our PC Mark, Diskbench, and Crystal Disk Mark tests, making it the second fastest flash drive we've tested, third if you count the 1TB Kingston drive as competition. And it's also fairly slim, making it easy to slip into a pocket. Just note that, if you're a desktop user and you opt for the model with the USB-C port, you will likely have problems plugging the drive into rear USB-C ports on the motherboard. Thanks to the two-piece plastic slide mechanism that protects the drive's port when not in use, the USB-C connector is just a bit too short to plug into most motherboards successfully. I tried this with 3 boards I have on hand and had the same issue with each. But, if your PC case has a front USB-C port or you're using a laptop, this shouldn't be an issue. I only had a problem with rear motherboard ports and this drive.
And number 1.
Buffalo SSD Put. This drive from networking and storage stalwarts at Buffalo stands out for being a good balance between fast performance and affordable pricing. It usually costs about $20 to $30 less than the faster Kingston DataTraveler Max, while still delivering 616.9 megabytes per second sequential read speed and 543.9 megabytes per second sequential writes in our Crystal Disk Mark tests. It's a bit bulky at about 3/4 of an inch wide at the port, and 0.9 inches wide at its maximum width. It uses a USB Type-A port, although a USB-C adapter is included in the box. Selling for around $70 for the 1TB model when we wrote this, it's more affordable than many 1TB alternatives, and it's even available in a 2TB model, which usually sells for less than $150. I just wish the drive's plastic shell felt less creaky and cheap, although that's an issue with the pricier Kingston DataTraveler Max, as well. There's a slot at the back of Buffalo's drive for attaching it to a lanyard, but this drive doesn't feel like it would last that long getting jostled around everywhere alongside your keys.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.